Hey, what's up everyone? John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the language apps from Babbel and Memrise. I did this very same video about a year or so ago, but of course, as these companies will do, they both went out and made some updates and changes to their programs. So today we're going to take another look at how these two language apps compare, and I'll let you know which one I would use. And by the way, I just want to say up front here that since I'll just be focusing on the highlights in this video, if you find you need more detail at any point, you can always jump on over to our website to check out our full detailed written comparison of these two apps. The easiest way to find that is probably just to Google Test Prep Insight, Babbel versus Memrise. It's a fast way to get there. Alright, so I want to start this video by giving you a high-level overview of how Babbel and Memrise each work. This will help provide some frame of reference for what I like and don't like about each of these apps, which I'll get to here in a minute. So let me start with Memrise. The Memrise app has a pretty unique structure and teaching framework. It's much more like a vocab or flashcard-based tool rather than a traditional language learning course. Rather than having a linear learning path where you work through lessons that build on one another, like you get with Babbel, Memrise has a bunch of courses in their program which are generated by both the Memrise team and by other Memrise users. This way you can kind of pick and choose which course you want to take. For Spanish, for example, you can start with Memrise's Spanish 1 course, or pick a random user-generated course if you want. Obviously, most people will probably start with the basic Memrise Spanish 1 course, then go on to Memrise Spanish 2, and so on, but the structure is definitely more free-flowing. But in any event, once you choose a course, even the Memrise lessons are a little different from Babbel and other apps. Rather than having fixed lessons that are a certain length, you pick how many words you want to learn per day, then you do your daily session and learn that many words. And as for the exercises in each session to teach you those words, it's pretty diverse. There's short video clips, listening drills, typing exercises, matching word pairs, and a few more standard type exercises. And that's Memrise from a high level. Choose a course, set your daily word goal, and start learning with some rapid fire drills and exercises. Now, Babbel is pretty different from Memrise. Rather than learning a certain number of words each day, you work through comprehensive lessons which each teach you vocab plus grammar and other important teaching points about the language that you're learning. In that sense, it's much more of a traditional language program. But assuming you have no working knowledge of the language that you're learning, you'll start with the very first lesson in the newcomer level and then shoot to complete a lesson per day or at least a few lessons per week. And as for the lessons themselves, each one is pretty short in length, generally about 15 minutes long. Each Babbel lesson is made up of a series of several quick-hit interactive exercises. There's listen and repeat exercises, digital flashcards, fill in the blanks, matching pairs, matching phrases to images, completing mock conversations, short instructional tips on grammar, and a few more. It's a very diverse approach to learning in terms of format and is generally more varied than Memrise's learning sessions, especially given its grammar coverage. Plus, outside of the main Babbel lessons, there's also daily review sessions where you get spaced repetition on vocab you've already learned in older lessons, and some other cool extras like games and podcasts. So, from a high level, that's how the two companies compare. In looking at the big picture, the Memrise program is more about learning words and new vocab through rapid-fire drills and various courses, while the Babbel lessons are a little bit more varied and include deeper grammar coverage. And by the way, like I said, I'm just trying to keep this video a little tighter and higher level, so if you want some more detail on either course, make sure to check out that full detailed written comparison that I mentioned. I'll have that linked down below in the description for you. Alright, so before we dive straight into talking about what I like and don't like about each program, let's quickly compare pricing. So, Memrise has a pretty simple pricing model. There are 3 different plans. You pay monthly as you go, that's $8.50 per month. Then there's an annual subscription, that costs $60 per year, or you can buy a lifetime membership for $120. Then, Babbel has a pretty similar model. They've got a 3-month plan, a 6-month plan, and a 12-month plan. Those subscription plans all range from around $6 to $10 per month after discounts, and similar to Memrise, they also have a lifetime plan which includes access to all of Babbel's languages for $300. So, in terms of pricing, Memrise is cheaper than Babbel by a couple bucks per month. It's not a huge disparity. Either way, you're probably looking at under $10 per month for a subscription to either course, but maybe enough to make a difference to some people. But no matter which company you go with, I would just encourage you to look for sales and coupons before buying. We track both companies' sales calendars, and they're both almost always running some sort of deal or special promotion, and you can usually knock a few bucks off. In fact, I'll drop any current discounts that I can find floating around out there down in the description for you, so make sure to check that out before buying. You might be able to save a few bucks if one of these apps ends up being a good fit for you. Okay, so now let's get into my thoughts on the pros and cons of each app, and let's start with Babbel. The thing I like most about Babbel's program over Memrise is the teaching framework. Like I said, Memrise is a vocab-driven program, while Babbel is more comprehensive, giving you coverage on both grammar and vocab. And the reality is that you can't become proficient in a new language without both of these elements. If all you need is vocab because you already have the grammar down and understand sentence structures and conjugations, then Memrise is perfect for that. But if you're trying to learn a new language from scratch or close to, you're gonna need both elements. And if you're trying to pick just one app, Babbel is gonna be the choice. Then, my second win here for Babbel has to do with the variety of their exercises. Both apps actually use a pretty good diverse set of drills to teach, and Memrise is better than others in my opinion, like Rosetta Stone, but between these two, I prefer Babbel's mix. The Babbel lessons just have a ton of variety in them, which keeps things more balanced and engaging. Like I said earlier, there's listen and repeat exercises, digital flashcards, fill in the blanks, matching pairs, matching phrases to images, mock conversations, short instructional tips on grammar, and some others. For me, the diversity of Babbel's drills just kept me more engaged during lessons. Alright, so the third advantage of the Babbel app is speech recognition technology. So here's the scoop. Memrise does have speech software to help you with your pronunciation, but I only saw it used in the mobile app and very infrequently at that. It's a little odd. They have it in their program, but they just don't really utilize it. In contrast, Babbel does have speech recognition software and it's used in almost every single lesson. It's not perfect or my favorite speech tech on the market, but it's not bad. It'll tell you when you say something wrong and have you repeat the phrase, or give you a thumbs up when you nail your pronunciation. The feedback side of it isn't anything special, but it is very accurate, and having that double check on your pronunciation is a big value add. Alright, so that's where Babbel wins over Memrise. Now let's switch sides and cover the major advantages in favor of Memrise. But before I get to that, I do just want to mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we actually give away a free language learning course to one lucky person. Super simple to enter. Everyone out there is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description on how to get entered, but just know it takes like 10 seconds and hey, you never know, you could win a totally free lifetime subscription to Babbel or Memrise. Okay, so Memrise's wins. And the first advantage of the Memrise program that I want to highlight here is how they use video clips in their lessons. There are a bunch of short video clips throughout the Memrise exercises that show fluent speakers saying the words and phrases that you're learning. To me, this is a major advantage for Memrise as it's something missing from the Babbel program. Babbel uses a decent number of images throughout their lessons and audio dialogue as well, but no video. And personally, I think there's a lot of value in video. It can be a powerful teaching tool. You get to see the fluent speaker's body language, facial expressions, and have a visual memory aid to associate the new words and phrases you're learning with. So this is a win for Memrise in my book, and visual learners could really benefit from it. Alright, so second, one aspect of the Memrise program that I haven't seen many other apps do is allow their users to generate and share courses. Basically, Memrise allows users to create their own courses on specific topics with exercises, videos, and new vocab. And the cool thing is that most of the user-generated courses cover really niche topics that otherwise you wouldn't learn vocab for in standard lessons, like terminology for soccer rules, auto parts, and specialty stuff like that. Specifically, once you've developed a nice vocab base and learned the essentials, these courses are great for building out your vocab and developing language skills around things that you really like or need to learn for work. Okay, and my last one for Memrise has to do with their spaced review system. So here's the thing, both apps actually use and rely pretty heavily on spaced repetition, but they just do it in slightly different ways. Babbel's approach is more direct, with the separate review function where they prompt you to review all vocab every day when you log in, versus Memrise, who more so builds their review function directly into the program. And while I like both, if I had to pick just one system, I kinda like how Memrise does it with a more integrated approach. Plus, this is one small point, but I kinda like how they use this cool little flower icon to show how far you've come in learning your new words. A new word will start as a seed, and every time you review that word, it'll show the little flower growing and growing until it's in full bloom, meaning you should know that word without hesitation. It's kind of a silly little feature, but I like it alongside their space review system. But anyway, that about does it for the detail in this comparison, so let's get to the final verdict. Should you choose Babbel or Memrise? Well, if you're just looking to choose one app, in my opinion, this head-to-head comparison is sort of an easy win for Babbel. Like I already mentioned, the thing about Memrise is that it's really just a vocab-based app driven largely by flashcards and space review. If that's all you need, building out your vocab base, then I really like Memrise for that. But in terms of more fulsome language learning, I have to give the edge to Babbel. Their lessons are more comprehensive, dive deeper into grammar and sentence structures with critical teaching points, and even the nature of their lessons is more varied with a variety of drills. So given that they're both within a buck or two of each other, I would go with Babbel. But anyway, that's all I have for you. I hope this video has been helpful and you learned a little something about both Memrise and Babbel. If so, make sure to return the favor by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and dropping me a quick comment below. That would be really appreciated. And again, if you want to see that full, detailed written comparison that I mentioned earlier in this video, just hop on over to our website, testprepinsight.com, or check out the other videos on our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of great content out there. But as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.